Hello and welcome to our ICC Boot Camp for Friday, November 7th, 2014. Gary here is your host and webinar leader. We'll be getting started in approximately 2 minutes, and we've got a lot to cover today. Yesterday we had a challenge with our regularly scheduled Thursday webinar for the boot camp. It was amazing that I signed in and expected to come to this website, and it took me to Google Hangouts directly with no webinar jam. And we had obviously members waiting and nobody was there to greet them. And what had happened is Google had decided to do a major upgrade and, quote, simplify their system, make it easier to follow, and they failed to tell anybody else. So I wrote a letter to the folks at Webinar Jam, and they said that they're working on it, and that's posted on the Legacy Assurance site, so you can go read the dialogue and what was happening. And this morning I was up bright and early and did a test, and the test worked. So here we are, back to abnormal. This system never seems to work the way I want it, but maybe that's because I haven't followed the instructions as usual. Anyway, we'll be underway in just 1 minute. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. You may not be here live, and that's okay. It seems to work better on the recording anyway. At least you get to see all the slides. We do have lots of new information today. During the session, we'll be covering new LHP protocols, and what a great way to make money. I am really excited about this, and this is where we can all put our shoulder to the wheel and get ourselves started. So, as I say, we'll be getting underway in just about 10-15 seconds as we see the today's attendees starting to come on board. And so that covers my introduction. So thank you for being here. Well, let's see about getting started. Let's do a little bit of background as to what's happening. First of all, the international currency revaluations are moving along quite nicely. We should see something happen in the next week. That's what everybody's kind of indicating. Should have happened this week with the election going the way of the Republican Party. Not that that really makes any difference, but they seem to think it does. Anyway, that's allowing this oil pipeline to be able to move forward. And so the HCL regulations and laws are being passed in Iraq, and so the Iraqi dinar looks like it's going to revalue. But not only that, we're going to see the Basel III compliance come into play. The Treasury Reserve notes, the U.S. notes are ready, willing to be distributed. And we're seeing a lot of reports from U.S. banks stating that, yes, the RV is occurring. There are several thousand people, privileged people, that have been called to do their RV, but to the, quote, general public, it's yet to occur. So that's pretty exciting. And it's also making it more viable for us to be contacting financial institutions internationally. I think we're always going to have a problem with US-based institutions. They're obviously a part of the cabal, which we hope will be going the way of the dodo bird. But understand that we're making great headway here at the Internet Catalog Club. We now have 7 contracted financial institutions offshore. 7. All with at least 250 million on deposit with a CD or SKR using DF3s. And then obviously there's a 500 million international bill of exchange to cover that. Now, in some cases, we've got $1.5 billion in one. We've got one was just announced yesterday for $1 billion. So there's really great things happening. Now, here at home at BrightStar Work Center, I've been working with a handful of members who really want to move forward and actively participate in Employee Gold. I would like to give kudos to a young lady that has, I guess, struggled with the protocols, and she has focused herself and really made a great stride forward and putting together her application on a couple of occasions. It was not accepted because obviously we didn't have the final applications to work with. But Cerise has done an awesome job in fulfilling her obligation to find a financial institution that would be willing to participate in setting up the CD with the DF3s. And not only has she found one institution, but within that same group, they have 3 offshore banks that are going to be moving forward. That's where we're at. That's pretty darn exciting. And so that's going to make the exchange of Zcash to USD a reality for her. And obviously, because we're the Work Center, we get a little taste as well, and for Brightstar Work Center. Now, having said that, we should all still be actively looking at financial institutions. And I'm not saying don't look at banks on board in the United States, but it seems that the financial institutions around the world are much more open. And so I would suggest that if you're outside of the United States or have contacts outside of the United States, use the 6 degrees of separation. That's pretty much what happened for Cerise. She told me yesterday that she had contacted one big bank and 2 small regional banks with no success. Oh, we don't do that kind of stuff. You know, the same old that we've all experienced for those of us that have tried. And then she went to a local business meeting. I guess it's a community get together with people that have businesses, and they network. And so she was there offering her ginseng product, and she was listening, and she has a friend that was there as well that happens to get up and do a presentation on banking and how he's involved in the banking industry. And she put 2 and 2 together and approached this individual. And the next thing you know, we have struggled to get a call together over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but she was persistent, and she did an awesome job of finally getting a conference call with Eddie, myself, and 2 other individuals and herself on Monday evening. And then partway through the session, we get another individual that joins us that turns out to be one of the bank principals. And Eddie did the explanation 2 or 3 times so that they could fully understand it. Emails have gone back and forth. Contracts are now being put together to be sent to the institution, and we'll get one on board hopefully before the end of the month, replete with deposits to create the CD and get things going. And then we'll probably get the other 2 wherever they may be. And again, I don't know anything about it. And the good news is you don't have to know anything about it. As I told Cerise, they started drilling her with questions, and I said, you just throw up your hands and plead the 5th and say, look, I'm not a bank officer. I can't talk to you about this. My job was to do the introduction, which I've done successfully. Let's get together. Let's work together with Eddie and Gary. And so Gary does the same thing. I just turn it all over to Eddie because he is a bank officer with FIDUS and with the International Energy Corporation, which is a surrogate for FIDUS in the United States. He is the actual president. So it's pretty exciting where we're at. And I want to thank Cerise for her valiant efforts in continuing to get that done. And she'll keep in touch with the folks as well. But our job, her job, my job has been facilitated. We're in great shape, and we look forward to bringing that up to 10 financial institutions that are now in a position to exchange the USD and Zcash. And that'll be really exciting. Now, obviously, there'll be fee for service. For those that are working with us in the various protocols, you're going to have an opportunity to start exchanging your Zcash to the USD. And so you want to become actively involved. This is happening. And as Ben told me before this webinar, the focus is not so much on finding the financial institutions now that we have close to 10 ready to be contracted, but to actively start promoting LHP. And we're going to be spending a serious amount of time on that today. But before we do that, I want to show a screen and give you an overview of an actual template now that should you decide to move forward with the employee gold, we're ready to go. Our first submission for Brightstar has been accepted. As far as I know, we're the first and only work center that's moved forward to do such. Our second submission on behalf of the My Fuel Club is in for review right now. And so we'll hopefully have that done first of the week. And we'll have a lot of Zcash available to do a lot of wonderful projects. So I'm going to share screen, and hopefully this will work today. Maybe they've made some improvements, but let's go ahead and click on the share screen situation and see if we can't get this to work and show you the screen that I want, which is this one. So hopefully you're seeing this. And if not, it's going to be available to anybody who wants to participate. It's not going to be put on the website. You have to get in touch with me. We have to go through and work with you on the Employee Gold application. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because we've got so many other documents to cover, but I just want to briefly go over. This is actually an hour and a half to 2 hours that we spend with each member going through and explaining exactly what you need to do. But to give you a quick review, Employee Gold application, Brightstar Work Center, Employee Gold, Brightstar Holdings International 001 resubmission. So this is I think my 8th or 9th try. Okay, so we refined it. Kenny has had a great hand in actually creating the first template. So kudos to Kenny as well. We need obviously the applicant information, Brightstar Work Center, AKA also known as Brightstar Holdings International. So if you're set up that way, that's how you'll do it. Otherwise, you'll just put yourself, if you're a self-employed individual going to create a business, you can put your name and your ICC number and the business you're going to create. Obviously, your contact information, your email, phone number, etc. Now, number one, in the original ones that we've shown you, we put specific areas. Well, Ben wanted me to just have it wide open. Brightstar Work Center hereby agrees to function as a purchasing agent for Fetus clients, providing items at cost plus a pre-agreed profit margin for the agent. That's me as the agent here and Eddie with Brightstar. Now understand that this, originally we said Dominican Republic and Texas, but Ben says, look, you can find stuff for us anywhere on the planet. And since you're working closely with us, we'd like to pay you to find whatever we need. So it's a privilege, an honor, and profitable to be a purchasing agent. And obviously, if you have to decline, you decline. I mean, if you can't do it, you can't find the stuff, you don't have the expertise in that area, that's okay too. Number two says, Brightstar hereby agrees to advertise Employee Gold and promote registration with same for at least 2 other business entities. Now, we were putting the business entities that were coming on board. He says that's not necessary. Just submit them in a separate email. So the first 2 are Cerise and Kenny. They have moved forward with their application format and are working towards completion of their applications using this template. Number 3 says Brightstar will advertise products and services on Brightstar Holdings International. Showcase Place 1010-51088. And the link is there. You'll be able to go and see it and take a look at it. And basically what it says there is Brightstar is set up to be a consultant. We have 2 websites, the Ultimate College of Commerce and then the Legacy Assurance. It explains what those 2 are. And it also goes on to explain that we're prepared to be purchasing agents for Fetus. And so that's what's on that particular link to the website. I'm not going to go there, but just know that you'll be able to do that if you're coming forward and want to participate in Employee Gold, which I hope you all will. Then our prices will be quoted in or shall include a portion of payment to be made in Zcash and or chips as per business requirements. So for the consulting, we're happy to accept BVK, Zcash, chips, whatever. And in fact, in this particular Employee Gold application, you'll see exactly how Brightstar is going to be compensated for consulting when it comes to Employee Gold. Now, there's other things we'll be consulting for that will be negotiated separately. And B says, although it's not required, as we may also direct interested buyers to chips-corner.com/billboard, we have set up our walking billboard advertising business on chips-corner.com BitLife.com/Brightstar. Now, I would suggest that if you want Brightstar support and if you want house services support, then you would do exactly what we're doing. My attitude is real simple. I want success. I want to see my BVK made available to Zcash, from Zcash to USD bank deposit funds. And so when Ben tells me this is what you got to do to get my support, I'm going to do it. So, word to the wise, just follow this protocol and set up a walking billboard advertising business. Well, you say, I don't want to be in that business. Well, I don't necessarily want to be in it either. But the point is it's very, very profitable, and it supports exactly what Ben needs us to support. And so with that, he'll give us the support. And when they have these 7 to 10 financial institutions being able to exchange Zcash to USD, and you're doing exactly what he's asked us to do, guess what? You'll be on that list to be able to get your exchanges done. So I would suggest you take this very serious and get active. Then you're supposed to outline the protocols you're going to use to exchange Zcash to USD bank deposit funds. So that's something that you'll be able to put in. There's 16 of them. We go over this with you. We're personally using the Enhanced Private Lending Protocol as our primary source to exchange Zcash and USD. So we're finding private lenders and financial institutions. And so that's what we put in there. But there's several others that you can use. And we'll discuss that, obviously, when we're putting your application together. So then we go on to the funding that's required, the budget request, the amount of contract hire, salaries, bonuses, and benefits, the detail of positions and employee costs requested from November 2014 through 2015. Now, this is not the exact document. We've made some modifications, but this was approved, and then we made the modifications, resubmitted, and got more money. Why did we do that? We wanted to cover the taxes up to 40%. So we've put in there for a website designer, maintenance and interface for all related entities, salary of $90,000. Now, I think we should probably be able to find a couple of people that would be capable of looking after that for us, but that budget is there, and we'll go to task and find somebody that can really do a bang-up job on a full-time basis for us, not supporting anybody else. Because what's happened in the past is that you hire somebody on a contract basis, the next thing you know, they've got the big bite out of you. Now they're doing maintenance for you, and they disappear. Well, I want somebody that's doing nothing but looking after Ultimate College of Commerce, My Fuel Club, Legacy Assurance, and getting Financial Hope back online so that it's completely a private site with entry, back office, and the whole deal. So that's what that's going to be all about, and that's where it's going to happen. Now, the important thing for us is to set up a business of walking billboard advertisers. So we're going to set up some trainees. There's going to be 50 of them to start. We're going to pay them $1,000 a week. That's $52,000 a year. This specific one is designed for Texas. The one in the Dominican Republic under the My Fuel Club pays them $300 a week, because that's still a huge wage here, and we get twice the bang. I'm sorry, $500 a week. We can get twice the bang for the buck. So we got 100 people there in the other one that I'm doing. So that's 2.6 million with 5 billboard managers. Now, we'll go to a headhunting firm and we'll find quality people that have leadership skills, have been in the sales and marketing, and they'll be coming to us, and that's where we look at hiring, performance, and other bonuses, the 300,000 below, that will offset the cost of the firm that will be bringing those people to us. So the idea is to have 5 groups of 10, and we'll be buying vans, 12, 15 passenger, I guess probably Fords in the United States, and Toyotas or Nissans here in the Dominican Republic. And so there'll be one manager with 10 people that each day they'll go to a business sector of the community, and they'll go out 2 by 2. They'll have smartphones so that they've virtually got their own computer for communication amongst their team. One person will be doing the talking with a beautiful brochure outlining employee gold and the advertising billboard protocols, and the other person will be taking notes and keeping track of key points, getting information about the contacts that they've made so that we can inspect what we expect of these people. And so they'll have basically a 9 to 5 kind of situation, and they'll be taken from our training facility, which we'll be buying, to the various locations, and at certain times they'll go for lunch, and at certain times they'll have their little breaks, and at certain times they'll be picked up and brought back to the training facility to head on home. And so that's the formula that we're going to be working with. And the idea is that there'll be a high performance and other bonuses. And so if they find a hot prospect for Employee Gold in their presentation, they can call the billboard manager. They'll drive on over to that location and assist them because these are trainees. And so the trainers will be training the trainees, and they'll get bonuses for networking with their leadership, and the leadership will network with me to bring these companies on board. Now, I'm a terrible accountant. I never balanced a checkbook in my entire life and don't even plan to. So we'll have somebody on board to do that. Eddie and Gary are going to get a couple of $100,000 each. There'll be an assistant for Eddie in Texas, and so they'll be put in for $80,000. Then the Bright Star Work Center consulting fees, I didn't think would fly, but they let it fly. So I'm super excited about that. 2.4 million. House services consulting fees of 2.4 million. Now, this seems extraordinarily high, like that's 100,000 a month for 4 people. So that's 4.8 million. And Ben said to me, he said, well, Gary, it's a gift. It's not a cost, because if we're getting the 4.8 million, you're getting 4.8 million as the applicant for Employee Gold. That's huge, folks. $4.8 million to start your business. I mean, who doesn't need to hear this story? Then we have the employment taxes, benefits, and estimates. I kept the same figure for the Dominican Republic because it's going to be actually a lot less. But the U.S. Submission was 3.4 million. And then we've got healthcare coverage to be determined. Here it's really cheap in the Dominican Republic. We can give everybody premium healthcare for like, I think about $30 a month. And that's including dental and eyeglass. Obviously in the US, it's going to be a lot more, but that's where we'll institute the healthcare solution. So that's what we've requested. This particular one for my fuel club is pretty much the same documents there. The figures are different. We've got 100 people for trainees and 10 managers. And so 10 million, 11 million in that neighborhood. Now, the next part was what was the holdup, figuring out how we had to do this. We recognize that the above amount requires satisfaction of 11 walking billboard advertising business coefficient. Now, there's for every million, you have to do the walking billboard submission of 50 advertising privileges. So that's going to be 6,000 to do that. Now, I don't have 6,000. I don't expect you to have 6,000 either. So I'm not asking for 6,000. We're just asking for you to go out and purchase one AP at 175 or sell 3. And that gets you your ability to submit your application. Then we'll be very close because Gary and Eddie have lots of Zcash and lots of BVK, and we'll be able to exchange some Zcash for USD bank deposit funds. And if you're actively working with us, we will take our Zcash, and whatever your submission is, in this particular case, we need 66,000 US. If you've made your commitment, you've brought your application to the table, you brought your 2 businesses to the table, we're going to support you with the first 6,000. And then if you do the first 6,000, you obviously are working, then we'll provide the Zcash to get you the total of 66,000 in this example. You'll pay us back, of course, and we expect that. But again, that's where the team effort comes in. And so in Cerise's case, she's going to have the financial institution to do just that. So she's done her work, and that's pretty darn exciting. And again, kudos to her. Congratulations, Cerise. you're a superstar. You really are, because you didn't quit. And that's the important thing is, we've all been beaten up. We've all failed miserably. I probably have failed more times than any of you, but I never quit. And you see, that's the difference between winning and losing. Quitters quit, winners never quit. And so come join us, get started again, roll your sleeves up, get active, make this happen for you. So now what happens is we understand that that once the above requirement is satisfied, we are to receive an additional amount of Zcash valued at 11 times 62,000 times 50. That's 550 people that we'll be employing in El Salvador for the San Miguel project. That gives us an extra 34,320,000 USD, one half of which is used to pay for the persons that shall work as advertisers in San Miguel. So the 10,720,000 that we're looking for Brightstar, plus the advertising privileges coefficient requirement of 34 million, that brings us up to $45,040,000 US. So we're expecting a Zcash of 22,520,000. So as soon as we have the ability to exchange Zcash through USD, whether it's through Cerise or because Gary and Eddie are working so diligently with leadership, they'll be allowing us to do that. We'll take our Zcash, we'll get that 66,000, we'll stick it in there, and that gives us another 22,520,000 to be added to the billions that we already have. Well, guess what? Leadership by example is where it's at, and I implore you to get active and do the same for you, so that you can say, yes, I've got a lot of Zcash, I got a lot of BVK, I've got a lot of chips, but I'm getting more. Why? Because I need to prove to myself that this is abundance. It's not debt. I'm not going into debt to get this. I'm doing the work, and by doing the work, I'm getting abundance that will last generationally. You'll be able to pass down your business generationally. And anytime I need to employ more people, if we go back up here, you see, once we've got these 50 people trained here in Texas, then I think every 6 months, maybe every 3 months, we'll be able to do an addendum. All right, so it'll be Brightstar Holdings 002, and we'll be adding another 50 and another 5. Well, not really. I think what I'm going to do is say these 50 now become managers, and we'll go ahead and have 55 managers, and then they'll each have 10 people. So you see how this is going to spread rapidly? And if they're out there bombarding businesses over and over and over again with smiles and good news stories, people are going to come on board. They're going to start moving towards the whole concept of employee gold. They're going to start using Zcash. Remember, right now, Bitcoin is making major strides by traditional advertising on websites, newsprint, billboards. They're doing all that kind of stuff. That's fine for them to do. But I'd rather pay you huge money to get out there and do the job that's expected of all of us, because we have the best program on planet Earth, bar none. There's nothing better. Okay, so if you have questions, you need help, I'm here to help you get your advertising program together, your walking billboard advertising, your employee gold ad, and get it done. All right, so that's the update, and I want to spend no more time on that. So hopefully you didn't just see this screen, you actually saw that slide, but I'm kind of thinking it just showed this screen. But let's stop that. You'll get to see me again smiling at you. All right, well, next thing we're going to start to do is go to the website, chips-corner.com. Through that, we're going to get to Employee Gold. So if you want to bring up Employee Gold on your website right now and just listen and follow along on your own website, you'll see what we're talking about. That's fine too. So I'm going to go back over now to make the screen share work, and we're going to go start looking at the website. Okay, what is LHP? So if you're on employeegold.info, you go down to the bottom, you're going to see what is LHP. Now, we did a brief overview last week, but this was in its infancy. And so November 6th, yesterday, they made some major upgrades, And we're going to kind of go through all this as quickly as we can, show you where everything is, and try and keep it in that hour. So now, again, historically, 1995, they created LHP, and it exploded. It went very, very well. The concept was that if someone purchased any item and also purchased LHP at a wholesale price, the LHP could be left on consignment to be resold at retail, with the expectation that the retail sale of LHP could provide full recovery of the cost of the item as well as the wholesale cost of LHP. So this was a way not to be in the investment business. Remember, you have to be licensed, and we're not licensed to do any investment. So if you say the word investment, I'll get a bar of soap, and we'll go to wash your mouth out, because we'll be challenged with anybody that says we're investing money. Don't ever say that phrase. That doesn't count. You're going to buy a product. In this particular case, LHP is a product, low cost, high value product. Now, it could be any product, and we're going to show you several products today that you can be marketing with great success. And the good news is there's no shipping, there's no inventorying, and it's kind of like a story that Ben told me today. He said there was a group of wine connoisseurs that met on a regular basis, and one of them managed to buy a bottle of wine that was in Napoleon Bonaparte's wine cellar, and he paid $50,000 for it. So he takes it to the little wine group and shows off the bottle and the authentication, and says, look at this bottle of wine. This is an awesome bottle of wine. It came from the wine cellar of Napoleon Bonaparte. And one of his friends immediately said, I'll give you $100,000 for it. That's phenomenal. So the guy says, sold. So he sells the bottle to his friend, and the guy goes and talks to some friends of his and says, look, I've just got this beautiful bottle of wine from Napoleon Bonaparte's wine cellar, and it's just amazing. Look at it. And so they checked out the authentication, and one of them says, I'll give you $200,000 for it. Sold. So the bottle changes hands one more time. And so that person then takes it to his little group of wine connoisseurs and brags about his $200,000 Napoleon Bonaparte bottle of wine. And somebody says, wow, I'll give you $300,000. So he says, done, sold, sells it to $300,000. So the guy that's got this $300,000 bottle of wine takes it home and says, wow, I've never tasted a $300,000 bottle of wine. So he opens it up and pours a drink and drinks it, and it's vinegar. It's gone sour after all these hundreds of years. And so he takes it back to the guy and says, you sold me a bottle of vinegar. You didn't sell me a bottle of wine. He said, you dumb cluck, you weren't supposed to drink it. You're supposed to sell it. Think about that. Okay, so low cost, high value product. We have it in inventory. We just need the vehicle to be bought and sold. We don't have to use it. That is called commerce. If we go back to the definition, the buying and selling of a product, a service, money. All right. We have TotalSoft, which is an out-of-date but inventoried computer business software program, along with the videos that are on VHS. You say, well, who the heck wants to buy them? You do. Everybody does. Why? Because you never take delivery. They're going to be immediately resold on consignment to somebody who will buy them. And you'll make a lot of money doing this. Okay, so you got to figure this thing out. This is a way to make money beyond your wildest dreams. So by 2005, because of the success enjoyed by Zcash and chips, TotalSoft packages were placed into storage and have been there ever since, along with many copies of videotapes of the seminar, that week-long seminar, introducing the concept of LHP. Now, recently, though, U.S. federal court rulings in Houston, Texas, and legislation introduced by California and Massachusetts have made it clear that Zcash and chips qualify as digital currency, a means of exchange. And in Zcash, it's not only a means of exchange, it's a measure of value based on gold, silver, and oil and actual cash on deposit assets. Okay, so it's now USD, lawful USA currency. And because currency operations differ from commercial trade, there may be instances wherein the use of Zcash and chips directly may cause transactions to run afoul of securities regulations. So if you want Zcash, you've got to jump through a few more hoops to get it because it's now USD, lawful USA currency. So that's why we've moved to LHP, because it is a product once again. And this, the time has come to reintroduce the LHP and to expand it to include not only TotalSoft, the LHP videos, but many other products too. And we're going to look at some of those today. Now, it should be underscored that it's up to you, the user, to determine whether laws in the user's jurisdiction will be best conformed to with directly using Zcash and chips in transactions, or whether LHP should be introduced. A user's attorney should be consulted before engaging in business with Zcash and chips or with LHP. Now remember, never take advice from anybody who has less information about what we're doing than you do. So if you bring in an accountant, an attorney, a planner, whatever you bring in, they've got to know what you got to know, and then you'll get opinions, okay? That's the important thing to understand, is that we know more than what the system knows. Otherwise, everybody would be doing this. I mean, this is a gold mine. Now, in the event a user decides to use LHP, the selected LHP may be acquired as indicated herein below. Now, LHP is not something that someone should be expected to just buy, all right? You got to sell it. Well, the easy way to sell it is to leave it on consignment. Rather, LHP products are expected to be used to make superb business offerings involving the LHP as product and Zcash and chips as currencies that may be used to formulate customized solutions. Thus, each type of LHP listed herein includes a business structure, a business opportunity that's expected to be followed. As diverse structures are formulated, new LHP offerings may be listed, and there's been a lot more added since last week. So we went through the TotalSoft historical software. Not going to go through it again. Watch last week's webinar. Same with LHP2, the videos. That's all we had last week. Now we have LHP Coffee. Acquisition of this product requires the acquisition of 200 Ticket Stash USD. A buyer acquiring 200 Ticket Stash USD through this location hereby allocates the tickets to be exchanged for 1,000 pounds of future fresh cut coffee acquired by the buyer at wholesale cost to be held on consignment and hereby resells to a retail buyer that is already contracted to acquire the coffee and pay 6,000 USD in value using Zcash. So you're going to buy it. It's going to be held on consignment. You don't have to inventory it. You don't have to grow it. You don't have to ship it. Just know that there's a buyer that's going to buy it for 6,000. Well, you paid 2,000. They're going to buy it with 6,000 value using Zcash. Now, the wholesale buyer hereby stipulates that a method to exchange the Zcash for USD bank deposit funds has been selected by the wholesale buyer. So not unlike what we're doing in Employee Gold, you've got to come up with the ways that you're going to figure out how to exchange your Zcash for USD bank deposit funds. All right? You may not be successful, but you may work and you may try, and that's what we want, because here's Cerise. She tried 3 times and failed. She was going to give up. She said, no, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on trying. She went to that business meeting, saw this gentleman that she knew for a couple of years do a presentation on what he's doing in banking. They put 2 and 2 together, and the next thing you know, we're on the phone. You see, that's called 6 degrees of separation. You just don't know who you know, who knows somebody, who knows somebody, who knows somebody that can bring them to the table with a financial institution, a hard money lender, or an investor. All right, so you keep on doing that. Why? Because the more we have, the faster we can exchange Zcash for USD bank deposit funds. And the faster we'll have Zcash as a currency that's traded for groceries, for gasoline, for clothing, for just about everything. If we brought in all those businesses, there would be no need for any other currency other than Zcash. And remember, when you use Zcash, it doubles your value. So whatever you're buying doesn't cost you a penny if you'll just follow the protocols. So the wholesale buyer hereby stipulates that a method to exchange the chips for USD bank deposit funds has been selected by the buyer. So you're going to go ahead and look through the 16 different ways. You're going to choose 3 or 4 of them and start to work on those 3 or 4. Doesn't mean that you have them in place, but you're working on them. You're working with me. We're doing 3-way calls. We're getting in touch with these people that you're working with. You're bringing on people for this protocol. You're bringing on people for employee gold. That's the work that's required. If you're doing all that, there's a very good chance you'll start to get little amounts of your Zcash exchanged for USD. Okay? Now the Zcash for the retail purchase will be registered in Wholesale Buyer's Internet Catalog Club account, and said registration will complete the set of transactions wholesale buyer engages when ordering through this location. So multiple orders of 1,000 pounds of copy up to 10 may be placed at one time. Now, one of the things that we failed to mention last week is that out of the $2,000 that's received, you get to use 25% of that, or 500. You can then bring your 250 Zcash to the table and get 500 USD. So there's some pretty strong with them. What's in it for you with doing this? Now the next one is the LHP4, which is sand. Acquisition of this product requires the acquisition of 200 tickets. Again, you don't need a truck, you don't need a shovel, you don't even need the sand. Just know that we're going to do the exact same thing here like we did with the bottle of wine example. We're going to buy it for the 2,000 USD. We're going to turn around and receive 6,000, and that's all explained in that same protocol. So they're all virtually the same. Now there's a couple of variations coming up. The LHP Arizona Onyx. All right, so we've got Onyx. Again, these are all products that are verifiable. So if we're ever investigated, these are commerce transactions. They're not investments. So we're never in trouble and we are never challenged because we can prove we have the inventory. That's why you're going to see more and more products and services coming up here as we acquire them. So in this particular case, the same formula for the Onyx. Now here's where we start to see some differences. LHP oil and gas and derivative products. I'm sorry, this one is the same. It's, I guess there's another oil one that's coming up in the examples. Okay, so we're going to click here for examples, and when we click on those examples, up pops a whole list of other things. I'm not going to do that. I'm hoping we're going to see the first one is corporate chiropractor example. So hopefully you're seeing this. If not, you're going to click on that link at the bottom for the examples in the corporate chiropractic wellness. Now, this goes into detail of exactly how you can approach chiropractors so that they can make a lot of money. And they're going to be selling coffee. Well, they're going to buy coffee and it's going to turn into a lot of money. Look at this. Chiropractor may create a corporate wellness program, negotiating a $20,000 USD cost with a corporate customer. The chiropractor may include in the price $2,000 USD for the purchase of LHP coffee. So they're going to end up with 20 grand, but they're going to start with 2. The chiropractor could charge the customer 4,000 USD per month, accumulating to 20,000 for the negotiated wellness plan. On behalf of the customer, the chiropractor could use 2,000 USD of the first monthly installment of the fees charged to the customer to acquire the LHP coffee, resulting in the customer receiving 3,000 Zcash valued at 6,000 USD. The chiropractor could use a Zcash and chips exchange facility, to exchange the Zcash for 6,000 USD bank deposit funds. As a result, the exchange of Zcash, the chiropractor would receive 6,000 chips valued at 6,000. The chiropractor could use Zcash and chips exchange facility to exchange the chips now for 6,000 USD, and from the 12,000 USD in bank deposit funds receiving, and by exchanging Zcash and chips, the chiropractor could reimburse the customer $10,000 and use the remaining 2,000 to repeat the process. As a result, the chiropractor could receive 2,000 USD plus obtain an additional 10,000 USD to reimburse the customer. Thus, the chiropractor could receive a total benefit of 20,000 USD income from the corporate customer. The corporate customer could receive a total reimbursement of 20,000, and the corporation's employees could enjoy the benefits of a wellness program at no charge. The key, of course, is for the chiropractor to have access to a Zcash and chips exchange facility. For this purpose, the chiropractor, in conjunction with a corporate customer, could seek the services of a facilitator, or either may choose to function as a facilitator so as to enhance earnings. The facilitator could use the facilitator's own funds without risk to function as per the Zcash and chips exchange facility protocol. You can see that in the commercial exchange kiosk. And or the facilitator could also function as a private lender or work with a private lender to use documentary funds provided by the private bank Fides. So he goes to let's say a department store, and they got lots of employees. And he says, look, your people need to have the ability to have chiropractic treatment. It's not covered by your existing healthcare program. I propose that we do this. And you have obviously a need for employee gold. You have a need to create profits. Sears and Kmart are closing down a lot of stores. So they would be good candidates to go to and say, look, we've got a solution for you. Come join us. So the facilitator could be the retailer, and they've got a couple of million that they're buying products with. They put that in as the facilitator. They're making 40% plus 50% as the facilitator. They win, everybody wins, and now the chiropractor has clients that are coming, and he's paid 20 grand for them. So great opportunity. So next one we're going to go to is a brokering oil and gas and or derivatives. Now this is a little more detail. A broker could offer to arrange for buy sells of oil and gas and or derivative products charging a 5% fee. For example, a broker might offer to arrange for 70 million USD, including broker fee, worth of oil, gas, and or derivative products. The broker could require a buyer and or seller to pay to start the process. Contracting fees total $20,000. The broker could use $10,000 of the contract fee to buy 5 blocks of LHP oil and gas derivative products and would receive 60,000 USD in Zcash and chips, which the broker could exchange for USD bank deposit funds using Zcash and chips exchange facility. The broker could then use 60,000 USD to buy 30 blocks of LHP oil and gas derivatives and would receive through that process 360,000 USD bank deposit funds. The broker could then use the 360,000 USD to buy, oops, we missed a U there, 180 blocks of LHP oil gas derivative products and will receive 2.16 million. And the broker could then use the 2,160,000 to buy 1,080 blocks, brings it up to 12.96 million. Then they take the 12.69, buy 6,480 blocks, brings it up to 77 million. All right, see how you can leverage this up, all starting with a modest. You could start at this with 2,000, but in this particular example, we're dealing with brokers who probably know people that have 20 grand that want to be in the oil business or the gas business or the derivative products business. So in the event the buyer has already paid the full amount so as to immediately receive the products, the broker could reimburse this full amount to the buyer. In the event the buyer has paid part of the full amount so as to the immediate receive some product, the broker could reimburse the buyer the amount paid plus provide the remaining quantity at no additional cost to the buyer. In the event the buyer has not made any payment other than the contract fee, the broker could provide the full quantity at no additional cost to the buyer. The key, of course, is that the Zcash and chips exchange facility must be ready, willing, and able to process Zcash and chips and exchange these for USD bank deposit funds. For this purpose, the buyer and or the seller may use funds as a facilitator, same as we talked about just a moment ago. And the broker gets to keep 7,760,000. Not too shabby. So I would implore you to study these and look for potential candidates that could use these. The next one I want to look at is the landowner with oil and gas derivatives. And this was explained to me before the webinar that there's the big players in the oil and gas business are pulling out of small landholds. And so this is leaving farmers with no lease value, and yet there are mineral rights there. So this perfectly fits in areas, Oklahoma, Texas, anywhere that there's oil or gas at the ground. Many landowners find that the major energy companies are not interested in leasing their mineral rights, and that the smaller companies don't have the necessary funding to go in and get these mineral rights. So we have the solution. We can bridge this. But landowners and energy companies can cooperate to resolve the issue in a way that provides significant benefits to both. A landowner could determine the yearly amount that the landowner wishes to charge for a lease of land mineral rights and negotiate for an interested party to pay that amount, with a first installment being for 4,000 USD bank deposit funds. The landowner could use 2,000 of the first installment to acquire the LHP oil and gas and derivatives product, resulting in the landowner receiving 3,000 Zcash valued at 6,000 USD. The landowner could use the Zcash and chips exchange facility to exchange the Zcash for 6,000 USD bank deposit funds. As a result, the exchange of Zcash, the landowner will receive 6,000 chips valued at 6,000 USD. You put the two together, the landowner could use the Zcash and chips exchange facility to exchange the chips. And from the 12,000 USD bank deposit funds received by exchanging Zcash and chips, the landowner could recover the 2,000 used to acquire the LHP, oil and gas and derivatives, and could use the remaining 10,000 to acquire 5 more blocks of LHP, gas and oil products derivatives, recovering the 10,000 and having 50,000 USD to continue to leverage until enough funds are available from the process to provide the lessee a 100% rebate of the funds paid or to be paid to the landowner for the lease. The key, of course, is for the landowner to have access to the Zcash and chips exchange facility. For this purpose, the landowner, in conjunction with the lessee, could seek the services of a facilitator, or either may choose to function as a facilitator so as to enhance their earnings. Same as the other two protocols. Okay, so we're not going to spend any more time on that. So lots of small farm owners, property holders, Texas, anywhere there's oil and gas in the ground, you could be actively talking to these people about this protocol. Last but not least, we have one more, which is the commercial development protocol. And consider the property that we own in Laguna Beach, California. It's prime real estate, appraised at $3.2 million. A development of a commercial strip center with condominiums on the top is planned. The total cost, including land, is expected to be $8 million to build it complete. And then the value upon completion is expecting to be $12 million, so we have a $4 million profit. The property was purchased using a promissory note, which in turn provides collection solely through documentary funds that are structured to conform to USA Uniform Commercial Code and UN resolutions, with the ownership being transferred upon contract signature through a deed of trust. The previous owner, first seller, is to receive 25% of the profits for the development, therefore $1 million. The new owner, the second seller, does not show USA income sufficient to qualify for a bank loan, but has contacts that can function as Zcash and chips exchange facility as per the protocol of that name published in the commercial exchange kiosk. A search may be made to find an entity, private funder, that is creditworthy and has sufficient funds to provide a down payment and purchase the property with a bank loan paying the appraised value of 3.2 million USD. The first seller, plus any outstanding liens, would be cleared prior to closing, and the remainder of funds would be provided to the second seller once the title is transferred to the purchasing entity. As part of the contract, the second seller could use 10,000 USD of funds received to acquire 5 blocks, 2,000 value each, of LHP sand, and negotiate resulting Zcash and chips through the Zcash and chips exchange facility to receive 60,000. As part of the contract, the second seller could take the 60,000 to acquire 30 blocks of LHP sand and negotiate the resulting Zcash and chips through the Zcash and chips exchange facility to receive 360. As part of the contract, the second seller could use the 360 to acquire 180 blocks of LHP sand and negotiate the resulting Zcash and chips through the Zcash exchange facility to receive 2.16 million. And then guess what? We do it again. We take the 2.16 million and we acquire 1,080 blocks of LHP sand. Now, it could be the coffee, it could be whatever. This is just the vehicle to create this wealth. It's not an investment. It's a bottle of wine that's not to be drunk, it's to be sold. All right? Keep that example in your mind. Negotiating to 12.96 million. 12,966,000. As part of the contract, the second seller could repurchase the property from the private funder, prepaying the fully developed expected value of 12 million. The second seller could then resell the development, charging the full 12 million. The total profit for the second seller would be 12,960,000 with 25%. That's 3,240,000 being shared with the first owner. The profit to the private funder would be 8,880,000. However, all of the above figures would have to be adjusted to account for bank loan fees, interest, and early repayment costs. But you start to see this as a vehicle that you can ramp up any size project just by buying and selling these properties, these products, I should say, LHP products, and starting with a minimal capital outlay and just doing it over and over and over again. But you got to do the work. You've got to get involved and find a Zcash chips exchange facility. And there's several ways. There's 16 ways to do that. So there's lots of things that can be done to put this in play. Now, everything is in place. We have the facilitator now private agreement. That's the last document I'm going to show you. You're going to find this document in the business documents number 96. There's actually a copy that you can download and send out via email. And I'm now doing that with some private lenders. And this is an 8-page memorandum of understanding. I am not going to go through this because it's as exciting as watching paint dry, but you can review it. It covers all of the salient points of the memorandum of understanding. And this is the document that's gone out to the bank leadership that Cerise has brought to the table. And what has to be set up is who is taking each part. There's private lender, there's member, and there's a couple of other parties as well. And that's all being negotiated right now. Cerise will be in there, and she will be handsomely rewarded for her efforts. So pretty darn exciting. Everything's in play. Everything's ready to go. The promissory note will be 250 million. If they can take a larger one, then we'll do a couple of contracts. But that's where it'll start. Ramp it up to billions. And so everything's outlined so they can follow it. It's very simple to follow. But as I say, it's about as exciting as watching paint dry. Not something that I want to bore you with right now, but you certainly need to read through it and understand that you can participate in this. You can be a party to this and receive the Zcash and chips exchange facility ability to exchange your Zcash and chips. So pretty darn exciting. Well, that's it for today. I'll get this webinar up. The documents are obviously on the websites. If you wish to participate in Employee Gold, please get in touch with me and we'll start you on your educational journey as to what you need to be doing there and get yourself active in promoting Employee Gold and now the new LHP protocols to the businesses that you can touch within your community. So let's bring this up and stop the screen share. And I want you to have a great weekend this weekend. Check your Dinar RV news sites to see what's happening, because they also include a lot of information on the global reset too. It's all coming down. I mean, it's exciting. We're a part of history that's never been seen before. And the beautiful part, those that were forward thinking in getting dinar and Vietnamese dong and rupiah is another currency that's going to revalue. and the Zim, which is from Zimbabwe. Those four are supposed to be coming out in this first basket, and they're pegging the Iraqi dinar at $3.50. So, you know, if you've got 358, I should say. So if you've got 5,000 or 100,000 dinar times 358, you now have 358,000. Not too shabby. There's some people that have trillions of dinar, and they're going to be handled directly by the U.S. Treasury. So it's real. It's not a scam. It's not pipe dream. Yeah, it's taken 10 years. Why? Because, well, obviously the leadership of Iraq was stealing $150 billion from the country. Maliki, or Malachi, however you want to pronounce it, hope he gets hung by the neck, along with his henchmen that have robbed the Iraqi people. And obviously the alphabet gangsters are involved, and, you know, they've foisted a central bank on Iraq and all the stuff that goes on. Wow, you know, you couldn't write a movie script as bizarre as the life we lead. But it's real, it's happening, and it's still not too late to participate in purchasing dinar. You can buy some dinar at the old price and receive the exchange value. So you might want to consider that if you've got $100 or a couple $100. You might want to consider doing that, but hey, it's your choice. I'm blessed that I have some, and it's going to be most helpful. And I hope that you will come and join me. Now is the time. We have everything in place. Things are happening. We need your help. So God bless you all. Thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.